Hello students, I am sorry I could not get connected on the Zoom class. However, I am just sending the recorded lesson to you. Please go through the lesson and give me the feedback. Okay, I am talking about the Chalukyas of Badami now. If you look at the points, I have written that the Chalukyas of Badami ruled over the regions of Karnataka from 6th to 8th century. However, there are three branches of Chalukyas. One branch known as Badami Chalukyas, also known as the early western Chalukyas, because Badami lies to the west in terms of the other capital which was in the east. Hence, Badami Chalukyas are also known as the western Chalukyas. They are called early because later on there was one more branch of Chalukyas who ruled over the regions of Karnataka from the west again. That capital happened to be Kalyani. Therefore, we have the early western Chalukyas or Badami Chalukyas who ruled between 6th and 8th century. Similarly, there is Kalyani Chalukyas who are also known as the later western Chalukyas who ruled with Kalyani as the capital from 10th to 12th century. Some of you had got it wrong, so please note it is from 10th to 12th century. And then the important ruler of this dynasty happened to be Vikramaditya VI, while the Badami Chalukyas had Badami as the capital and the most important ruler happened to be Pulikeshin II. Then coming to the third branch, the Vengi Chalukyas. Now Vengi Chalukyas are also known as the eastern Chalukyas because compared to Kalyani and Badami, now this lies to the eastern part. Hence they are known as the eastern Chalukyas. They had Vengi as the capital and it falls into the present Andhra region, and they ruled the regions of Andhra from 6th to 8th century. Therefore, we have the three branches of Chalukyas. And now speaking about the Badami Chalukyas, now they had established their dynasty as early as in the 6th century Common Era. And we have some important informations about them, like now they had Varaha as a royal emblem. Royal emblem Varaha meant, now this Varaha was one of the incarnations of Vishnu taken to protect the earth. Therefore, we understand the prime duty of the Chalukyas was to protect the earth. They called themselves the protectors of the earth. Therefore, Varaha, the royal emblem. And Badami, their capital, was earlier known as Vatapi. Vatapi now is known as Badami in Bagalkot district. And the early personalities, please note, I am not naming them as the rulers, but they were the early personalities. So one was Jayasimha, the other was Ranaraga. Now these were the village chieftains. The village was Vatapi, so they were the Vatapi chieftains. And when they were followed, they were succeeded by Pulikeshin I. Now he established a kingdom. So Pulikeshin I can be considered the real founder of the Chalukyan dynasty. And they call themselves, now right from the days of Jayasimha, the Chalukyas have identified themselves as Hariti Putras. Hariti, one of the sages, one of the rishis. So they call themselves as belonging to the family of Hariti. Actually, they are the sons of Hariti is what it means. And they belong to Manavya Gotra. Now Gotra, I have told earlier also, means clan. Therefore, they call themselves as belonging to Manavya Gotra and the sons of Hariti Rishi. And when Pulikeshin I came to power, in the sense he established the kingdom, now he was followed by two of his sons. One was Mangalesha, the other one Kirtivarma. Now Mangalesha was the younger son. So Pulikeshin I was followed by Kirtivarma, and Kirtivarma had a son by name Pulikeshin II. But please note, here I have given this arrow mark only to mention that now this Kirtivarma was supposed to be succeeded by Pulikeshin II. But then when Kirtivarma died, Pulikeshin was still a minor. Therefore, Mangalesha was appointed as a regent. Regent meaning the person who is to rule the kingdom on behalf of the ruler in case he is a minor, in case he is away from the capital, or if he is unable to rule the kingdom. So, Mangalesha ruled the kingdom as a regent. However, when Pulikeshin II came of age, he refused to hand over the power. He did not want to, enthrone Pulikeshin II. Therefore, when Pulikeshin II came of age, he had to fight against his own uncle Mangalesha. The war took place at a place called Yalapattu Simbige. Now there you have already written that the place where the battle took place. However, what I am trying to tell is that Pulikeshin II had proved his power or ability as a warrior even before he came to throne. He had to fight against his own uncle. So when he came to power, he had already established himself as a successful warrior. And later on, he continued to expand the kingdom territorially. He had to fight against so many contemporary rulers. However, before we go to his other conquest policy, now here are some points I have written about the sources of study for the history of Pulikeshin II in particular and Chalukyas in general. We have both the archaeological sources and the literary sources. So, archaeological sources include one, Aihole inscription. Now, I think one of you was not very sure of the word. It is inscription. And please note that when I write the short forms like this, I want you to write the complete word in your notes. Now, this is only for my convenience. I have written the short form. Anyway, you have the textbooks with you. Therefore, you know the word correctly. Hence, write the complete word. So, here it is Aihole inscription issued by Pulikeshin II but composed by Ravikirti. This I have mentioned earlier. So, it was drafted. It was composed by Ravikirti. Similarly, the other inscription is Badami cave inscription. Now, on the walls of Badami cave temple, there are engravings made. Therefore, the Badami cave inscription. Similarly, there is Mahakuta pillar inscription. So, that way there are archaeological sources for the study of Chalukyas in general and Pulikeshin II in particular. Similarly, we have literary sources. Now, one, we have Bana's Harsha Charita. I have told in the previous class that Harsha had a court poet called Bana who wrote his biography. So, this Harsha Charita, while mentioning about Harshavardhana, also tells about Chalukyas and especially about the war between Harshavardhana and Pulikeshin II. Hence, it becomes a source of information. And there is a work called Kaumudi Mahotsava. Please understand, it is called Kaumudi Mahotsava in Sanskrit, which was written by Vijaya Bhattarika. Now, this Vijaya Bhattarika was also known as Vijjika or Vajjika. She was the daughter-in-law of Pulikeshin II. Hence, definitely it makes a reference to Pulikeshin's regime. Hence, we have this as an important source of information. Now, both Kaumudi Mahotsava and Harsha Charita are the indigenous sources. They are written by the natives of the land. And we have a foreign literature by Huyen Tsang. Now, this also we have referred to earlier. While the Chinese Buddhist pilgrim visited India, he had also witnessed the contacts between Pulikeshin II and Harshavardhana. So, in his work Siyuki, he writes about Chalukyas also. Therefore, it becomes an important source of information. So, now coming to the conquest of Pulikeshin II, I told you the clash was between Mangalesha and Pulikeshin II in the beginning itself. even before he came to power. And the battle was fought at a place called Yalapattu Simbige. That's the name of the place. And after that, when Pulikeshin was successful, he was enthroned. He came to power. And having come to power, he defeated many of the rulers. I have written all the names. So one is Ratta chieftains. Now I think one of you made the correction as Rashtrakuta chieftains. Fine, that is also correct. But then Rashtrakutas are known as Rashtrakutas only after they established their power, after they became the rulers. So till then they were the chieftains, like how we speak of Jayasimha Ranaraga here as the chieftains of Vatapi. Now here they were the chieftains of Rashtra region. It was not even Rashtra. So they were just the chieftains. So this Ratta chieftains Appayika and Govinda fought against Pulikeshin II, and in the confrontation when they fought, now this Appayika ran away from the battlefield while Govinda surrendered. So Pulikeshin II defeated the Ratta chieftains. Then he defeated the Kadambas of Banavasi, Mauryas of North Konkan, Alupas of South Canara, Gangas of Talakadu. All these dynasties are in the south. So if you look at the map, now it tells how in one particular order he had made the conquests. Now that map work I shall explain later. And then after conquering the dynasties in the south, he goes further to the north. There Lathas and Gurjaras were the rulers who were ruling over the Gujarat region. Hence he defeated Lathas and Gurjaras, occupied the regions of Gujarat, made it a province, and appointed one of his brothers, Jayasimha, to rule over it as a provincial governor. Please understand, I am using the term provincial governor. So this Jayasimha, the brother of Pulikeshin II, was appointed as a provincial governor. Hence, later on, the same province went on to become an independent kingdom. Therefore, we have the Gujarat Chalukyas, or they are called Solankis. Then, the next dynasty defeated by Pulikeshin was Malwas. And having conquered those territories in the north, he comes almost to the center part, that is Narmada. There he confronts Harshavardhana. And we have already mentioned about the war between Harshavardhana and Pulikeshin II on the banks of river Narmada. So a fierce battle took place between the two. And please note, now this symbol you are able to see an hyphen over E. Now this is read as with, war with Harshavardhana. So the fierce battle took place in which Harshavardhana was defeated. I have mentioned the other day as to how Harsha had to lose his Harsha. Therefore, Harshavardhana was defeated in the battlefield, and Pulikeshin II assumed the title Parameshwara. Harshavardhana had already assumed the title Uttara Patheshwara. So he was the lord of the northern plateau, and now Pulikeshin II, having defeated Harshavardhana, assumed the title Parameshwara. Now from there he proceeds further to Kosala and Kalinga region. Kosala, Kalinga region are the regions in the east. So he defeated them, and coming down further south, he defeats the rulers of Vengi. Now Vengi was ruled by a few rulers. It is in the Andhra region, I told you. So this Vengi was captured by Pulikeshin II, and it was made into a province. As a mark of his success against the Vengi rulers, he erected a pillar of victory at a place called Pistapura. So, a pillar of victory at Pistapura was installed, and one of his brothers, Kubja Vishnuvardhana, remember here we have Jayasimha, one brother who was appointed the provincial governor of Gujarat. So now here he appoints one more brother, Kubja Vishnuvardhana, as a provincial governor. It was this Kubja Vishnuvardhana who later on established an independent kingdom known as Vengi Chalukyas. Hence, during the days of Pulikeshin II, the two branches of Chalukyas, like the Solankis of Gujarat and Vengi Chalukyas, were established. Now from there he further comes down south to defeat the rulers of Pallavas. Now Pallavas were ruling over Kanchi at that point of time. Now therefore he defeats the Pallavas of Kanchi. At that point of time Mahendravarma the first was the ruler. Therefore he defeated him in the battle at Pullalur. The place was called Pullalur, where the battle was fought between Mahendravarma and Pulikeshi II. Now having defeated, he came down to his kingdom, and on the way to his capital, that is at Badami, he defeated the other minor powers like Cholas, Cheras, Pandyas. According to one version, now these rulers surrendered themselves voluntarily. Having heard about Pulikeshi's conquests, now they surrendered themselves. So he entered triumphantly Badami. But then this Mahendravarma, later on, after the death of Mahendravarma, the kingdom saw the rise of Narasimhavarma Pallava. That is the son and successor of Mahendravarma. So when Mahendravarma came to power, he formed a confederacy, an alliance with the Cholas, Cheras and Pandyas, and with a combined army he invaded Badami. And it is said 3 battles were fought between the confederacy, the allied powers on the one hand and Pulikeshi on the other hand. So the 3 battles were at Pariyala, Suramara and Manimangala. I'll repeat, Pariyala, Suramara and Manimangala. So in these 3 battles, in one of the battles, Pulikeshi II died. He was killed or he died in the battlefield. Therefore, Pulikeshi II, so long as he was there, he was an undefeated ruler. We have seen how he was able to win success in all the battles. And some of his titles happen to be Dakshina Patheshwara, the Lord of the Deccan Plateau, Satyashraya and Prithvi Vallabha. He was called Prithvi Vallabha. So these were the titles assumed by Pulikeshi II.